Yay! Hello, 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 and welcome to this week Training Tuesday Live. I'm excited to be here as well as have you here with us for this special topic today with a very special guest that we'll introduce in just a moment. But if we've not met before, hello, my name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group in the Relationship Marketing System, helping you give more, love more, and do more in your business using relationship marketing. And my awesome co-host, he's Mike Gingerich. He's the president of Digital Hill, the co-founder of the apps Waftio, Tab Site, published author extraordinaire, just all around great guy. And today we are joined with a special guest, and we're going to be diving in to Craveable Authenticity, why your story matters. And to do that, our special guest, Mike, that we have with us is the Jeff Homebase Howell. How's it going, Jeff? How's it going, Mike?
What's going on, guys?
All right. Good to be here and good to have Jeff with us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Now everybody's going to wonder where that story came from, and I'll have to get into that down a little bit later.
Yeah.
I've wondered myself where that came from, but I can't say your name without saying Homebase How because of the Mia Voss and Brian Kramer that says it all the time. So we'll have to hear why they call you that after Mike does your proper introduction of who you are.
I'll get into it.
All right. There it is. Okay. Yes, we have Jeff with us. He's coming to us from Michigan right now, and he's working in development, and he keeps his pulse on the marketing industry. He is one of the moderators of the Human Marketing Hub, a large Facebook group for the marketing and the relationship marketing, human marketing arena. And after 12 years of working in marketing, 25 years in graphic design, Jeff has, he says, finally, I'm not sure, I think maybe he knew this before, but he says finally found out how to tell a good story and isn't creating a compelling story what it's all about anyway. Okay, so we're going to dive into that with Craveable Authenticity and, talk about that, the authenticity and yet relating that to a little bit of, ROI and how that connects. So looking forward to this discussion. And, I think maybe for the folks out there, number one, I think if you are here, just as we put in the group there, let us know. Give us a shout out, say hi, just so we can see who's here. If you come in and do that, that'll be great. But we need to start with kind of like a definition of craveable authenticity. And so I'm going to, Jeff, I'm going to let you give us a first take on what that means to you, that term. And it's going to be the term that we use for the focus of obviously Social Media Week Lima coming up in June. Tickets on sale now. The early bird window is closing. So Jessika did that for you. There you go. So Jeff, craveable authenticity, what's that mean for you?
Craveable authenticity means bringing in a community of people to your brand or to your personal brand that promotes relationship. So, there was a long time ago where, and for a very long time, a brand's message was just broadcast. It was never something that was relatable. You always talked about what you wanted people to know about whatever it is that you did, but it wasn't something that was tailored for your community or for your consumers. And so when I think of craveable authenticity, I think of being able to share something about your brand, your story, how your brand was created, what in the marketplace did you want to disrupt, and how do you came to that thought process, and how you came to create your brand or your business, and sharing that in a way that promotes community and promotes people wanting to come and be a part of what it is that you're doing, whether it be purchasing a service, purchasing a product, or just coming alongside and being an ambassador for that brand. But that authenticity, I think, is really the key to creating that human experience, which is where marketing is sort of going now. And it's that being able to have that craveable component of your marketing strategy is a vital now. So you have to be authentic in your story. You have to be authentic in what you're saying, and be authentic in how you present yourself.
I love that. One, because craveable by definition, right? It's something that people want more of and they're going to keep coming back for. And I think now as the tables have turned where consumers, they drive the story of the brand, right? They decide who they're going to, where they're buying from, because they're not limited by demographics anymore. They're not limited by lack of information or options, right? So really, in order to get someone to even want to come to your company and to crave you, you have to give them something that they want. And all of us as consumers and humans even crave belonging and authenticity. And I think we stated this on the last episode of Magnet Marketers, but it was talking about the stat that marketers are the least trusted people by consumers, like almost 80%. So it's not some kind of marketing ploy that you're going to be able to fool consumers or individuals into wanting to be a part of your community. You cannot buy that influence. You cannot buy that attention, but you can show up in a way that is authentic and that then people will want more of because they enjoy the way that you've made them feel as a company. So I really love the way that you articulated that.
Right. And I think even some of the tools that we use as marketers is sort of forcing our hand in doing that. Take YouTube, for instance. You used to be able just to broadcast your message. You used to be able to just put your video up and you'd have, first it was optimizing the description. And then it was, okay, you need to be engaging in the comments. And now you're forcing people to subscribe, and then they have to click on the notification bell, and then they also have to click the like button. So like YouTube, for instance, is forcing creators to encourage their community to do those things, because then as soon as those metrics show up, then YouTube will say, oh, so this content creator is doing a lot with engaging with their community, so we're going to promote them, or we're going to give them more ad revenue, or we're going to, reward them for that content and for engaging in the community that they have. Well, how do you do that? Well, we just talked about it, creating a message and being engaging with your community. Here's an example. So I follow an automotive YouTuber. His name is Chris Fix, and he maybe posts on YouTube twice a month, right? But he's got 4.5 million subscribers, and he built that community over the last many years by sticking to his message of creating content that shows the average person how to fix their car. And so he hustled and he created a bunch of content, and he would post, a couple times a week. But now his community has gotten so strong that all he has to do is post something on Instagram that, hey, my video is going to be out in a few days. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And in the last year and a half, his subscribers have gone up by almost 1 million subscribers. And they're all doing that. They're all hitting the notification bell. They're all clicking the like button, because the way that he presents his content is genuine. And and so he's a really good example of kind of utilizing the YouTube channel, which is forcing content creators to be engaging. And then he's using Instagram. He's using multiple channels in order to drive his community to where he wants them to go.
First of all, I need this show in my life. So what was the name of that again? Because I want to go check it out.
It's just called Chris Fix.
Chris
Criffix.
You said fixing the car for the average person that doesn't know how to fix a car. That's me, first of all. Second of all, I love how you use the example of YouTube, because that is a perfect example of how consumer behavior has shifted, right? Like, so one, you go looking for something and you find it. So that's a one-stop shop, right? Finding that YouTube video on how to fix your car. But what's going to keep them coming back and doing all these tasks are the only way to make that shift. And that's what we're talking about, I think, here is not going once and finding that video that's related, but how do you make a community out of it where people are wanting to come back, wanting to do those extra things like hit the bell notification, hit the like button, make a comment, to start building that community. What is the shift that happens, right? Because we may be able to get anyone to watch or read something for once. But what is that shift? What is that shift? What needs to happen in our messaging that turns somebody from a follower to a true fan, right? And that's what the definition, like you had mentioned, is craveable, and where that shift takes place. Yeah, I love that. I love that example that you shared with Chris Fix and the definition of that. So why? And you kind of already answered this, and we've talked about it a little bit, but why do you think this is extremely crucial for brands now and moving forward, that they start thinking in this way?
Because you have to think of it on a very micro level. You know, there was a time when Audi was a good example. Back when Facebook was opening up to creating brand pages, one of the examples that I always saw in, okay, this is how you do this correctly, was Audi. But all they were doing was just broadcasting their message. They weren't doing anything to promote community. And they would, you know, Facebook was saying, well, you've got to have likes. You've got to have 1 million likes. You've got to have 100 million likes or whatever, because the metric then was based on how many people were coming and liking your page. Well, that's exhausting. How can you keep up with that many people? And how can you keep up with trying to be everything to those million followers? And so brands have to get down to a very micro level and communicate one-on-one. And there are go ahead.
No, I was just giving you some props. That was my prop emoji in real life. Preach, brother, preach.
And the beautiful part of that is that the brand you have, especially if you're a company that has multiple employees, you have those engage points sitting within your walls. Well, if you're a brick and mortar, you have people sitting there, or if you're a remote company, you've got those people, you've got those resources to be engaging. You know, yes, it takes a lot of experience and knowledge and education to sort of know how to market correctly. But if you've got people in your office that are teachable and moldable, you can have them be on the Twitter account every once in a while, on a regular basis, and replying to people, even acting as an agent of the company or acting personally and speaking for the brand. You've got people that can help do that. So it doesn't have to be daunting or overwhelming to really think on a micro level. But when you think micro, then all of a sudden those relationships that you're building become much more meaningful. And over time, then you're able to see the real results in revenue by more people purchasing, more people sharing the content to get more people involved. It's almost like if you look at those old like MLM type diagrams where, you know, you'd have the upline and then the downline would share 6 and then those people would share 6. It's kind of a similar philosophy where if you get somebody that you're building a relationship with as a brand and they are sort of your ambassador, they may not have to purchase a whole lot more, but if they share their stuff and they say, hey, I love this brand because XYZ, there's going to be a significant uptick in interaction and then potential for conversion into real dollars.
Absolutely.
Hey, quick shout out just as we're going along here. So Jeff DeHaven, thanks for being with us today. And Jeff DeHaven says to you, Jeff Howell, what a great, cool first name you have.
How did you get that? He asks.
Well, I'm older than he is, so he stole it from me.
And coming from the same state, right, Michigan? Okay.
Yeah, he's not too far from me.
2 Jeffs, 2 Michigan, or 1 Michigan, right? Okay. Yeah, and also we got Ottawa, Daniel coming in, and so thank you, Daniel, for joining us. Daniel couldn't agree more. If brands are incapable of managing one-on-one relationships, there's no way they can possibly maintain a community awareness. So Daniel is flowing right with you there. So thanks, guys, for joining us here. If anyone else is out there watching, and just introduce yourself here a little bit. So thanks.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Play More Lanes, Christina Gritman, Kyra that's watching, Tim Lewis, Troy, Terrence Keyser, and Amanda Kramer as well.
Nice.
All right.
Guys are great.
Now, let's see. So when we talk about craveable authenticity,
yes,
and then the need for that today, just because of the way online social networks have evolved, that type of thing. What does a company, practically need to think about? How can they do this more? Maybe I can do that more. What tools may help them do that?
Well, we can get overwhelmed by the number of tools that are available. I mean, you've got HubSpot and Marketo and all of these amalgamation analytic tools that will tell you all kinds of data about listening pages and listening for hashtags and be able to show you where your community is and all that kind of stuff. And so I've never been one to subscribe to you've got to have a bunch of tools to make things happen, because those are out there. The big ones that we all know are out there. The ones that we use are out there. It's what you do with that data and that information is really what's more important. So as I kind of was alluding to earlier about empowering your people, your community, to your employees and other brand ambassadors that you might have, to go out and sort of provide them with the kind of data of, hey, look, so there's a bunch of people on Twitter following this hashtag that relates to what we do. Go out and talk with them. Go search for that hashtag and go see what people are engaging and communicating about, and just respond. Have conversations with them. Facebook, Instagram, all the same thing. So I've never been one to get hyped up on, hey, you've got to use this tool because this tool will help you do X, Y, Z. There are so many that are out there that are going to almost not do the same thing, but they're going to show you what you need to do.
They enable you. How about that? I mean, there's a lot of them that enable. Is that maybe a term?
Absolutely. I tell clients all the time. I tell all the clients all the time. It's about your technique, not the tools, right? Like picking one and sticking with it, but really knowing what you're using it for. But the key is to have something that hopefully will help you to maximize your time, right? So like you mentioned some great ones, right? Like HubSpot, if you're creating streams and listening to the hashtags and following your audience, having like a CRM to monitor, right? And the conversations that are happening both internally when somebody's dealing with the business, and then also on social, and just having at least a tool in place for that social listening and for the understanding and relationship building with those that are facilitating the conversation. Kind of who your big ones are, right?
Sure, because once you have somebody engaging with a brand enough, you're going to offer them something that they want. They're going to go click on a link to download a PDF about something that's valuable for them. It's going to take them to a landing page. They're going to fill out their information. That information gets funneled into the CRM, which then goes from a marketing funnel into a pre-qualified sales funnel, and then your sales team can go and convert them. And so we all know the process of how that works.
Yep.
It's really what's important is maintaining the relationship from beginning to end. So you can use that data stream all you want, and all that's going to be very important. You need to have those things. But really what's important is not losing out on the fact that that data point is an individual on the other end of that. And maintaining that feeling that, okay, this person, this data point is an individual that I need to maintain a relationship with. And if I lose that, then I've lost an opportunity to, again, do what we've talked about before, having that brand ambassador, having that person that can share content, and somebody that will ultimately come to a buying decision. And so that I've always found that being more important than anything else.
Yep. Just a couple things. So shout out here to Eugene and Phil Gerbershak for joining us there. And a couple of those guys have mentioned, TweetDeck for, obviously on Twitter, and the ability to listen to conversations, be able to see that world, be able to respond, so that so listening and responding, that's a piece of, how you respond. Craveable, authenticity is that. I mean, I think about Facebook groups. Shout out to Bella Vasta, and so the opportunity that, I mean, I introduced you as a moderator there in the Human Marketing Hub, and that's a tremendous place of just of value, just because people are being authentic about hey, I'm doing this, or I have a question about this, or there's a question posed that is thought-provoking that many people respond to, and so we all learn, we engage around that, we give our thoughts of and who we are comes out, and that's a just one of those opportunities that it takes place in.
Right, and you bring up a good point about Facebook groups too. Is if you're in the marketing space and you are looking for a group of a community to belong to, where you can learn on a ground level how to be more human, groups like the Human Marketing Hub are the perfect way to do that, because it's filled with people who get it and who understand what it takes to be more human in the marketing space. And there are a lot of them out there too. There are different mastermind groups. There are all kinds of stuff. But the beauty of groups too is that it's another channel, much like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, where you can get much more granular with your storytelling. If you have a brand and it makes sense to have a group of consumers that are following you, then you can get much more human and much more targeted with your messaging and your storytelling within a group, which I love groups so much, and I can't wait to hear Bella's talk in June about it, because she's just the queen of it. But groups are vital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just like you said, getting more granular with it. I think that's the key. And you also mentioned like micro moments, right? And that although some of the tools, like we mentioned, TweetDeck, and I love like Agora Pulse because it lets you know kind of who your top ambassadors are, right? And who's the most engaged. But then it's like what you do from there. So like knowing that information, then you said like taking it to, an action step of creating a more meaningful story. Or like I know Dan that's watching, Willis, he does a video replies personalized to people. And I know several people on Twitter do that. And I'm love the audio message back and forth. It's like, what can you do to storytell or create those moments that show a little bit more authenticity and that you're taking the time to notice someone? And I think for companies though, when you say one-off things like that or micro, they think it's going to either take a lot of time or it's not going to be as effective because you're going small versus big, right?
Sure.
What would you say to a company that's saying something like that?
I would sit down with them, and one, I'd probably be prepared with some data to back up my opinion on this. But I would say you almost can't afford not to. It doesn't take as much time as you might think, especially if you have a group of people that can be dedicated to share that load. Or even if you do have, maybe you're outsourcing some of your marketing to an agency that will do that for you and act as your agent. You have to build from somewhere, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to take a lot. If you find maybe your 10 to 12, maybe 15 individuals that engage with your brand on a much more consistent basis, you target that dozen first. You talk to them first. You do your video messages with them first. Get them to be able to humanize your brand through those people, and then either you convert them to an ambassador. I know Mike Alton's a good person for this. He's got a few Agora Pulse guys that do something very similar. They don't work for Agora Pulse, but they're ambassadors for him, and so he's leveraged that power pretty nicely. And if you're at a point, or if that doesn't quite make sense for your brand to have ambassadors doing that, those resources need to be spent in that arena. You just got to find the time, find the resources to do it, and use an agency like Now Marketing to help you with that if you need to.
Yeah, amen. And a quick shout out to Mia and Eugene in here. Yay. Mia says, Jeff, home base house. So I think this is a perfect intermission moment to hear that story of the home base name and get authentic with it real quick.
Mia, I love your face. I can't wait to see you. And Eugene. So listen to this. So Eugene, tangent, and then I'll get back to the story. So Eugene is the cousin of one of the best friends I grew up with in upstate New York. So
That's awesome.
he's
He's such a great guy. I just love
Eugene's
him.
great. So when I was at Social Media Marketing World this year, my cousin who lives in California, or Eugene's cousin Dan, who lives in California now, sent me an Instagram message and, hey, you need to follow Eugene. He's my cousin. And so we ended up going to dinner one of the nights, and just sort of caught up on old stories about Dan. It was pretty fun.
He is a tweeting boss, man.
Yeah,
I'm like, how do you tweet that fast? Where's your extra hands?
He hides them. I think they're behind his neck. They just
something happening there.
So the home-based Howell story was pretty cool. So last year, Social Media Marketing World 18, there was a group of us from the Human Marketing Hub that just went to San Diego but didn't actually attend the conference. So we just sort of walked around and hung out in the lobby and went over to the different parts of the convention center just to hang out together as a group. And this was right around the time that there was another conference going on around the same time in the next building over. I think it was I don't remember exactly what it was, but so we were just kind of hanging out. There was another venue that had a bunch of vendors in it. And so we were kind of getting split up because we wanted to go do other things. And so I was, I'm a big, tall guy. I'm 6'3", and big dude, and I was wearing a turquoise shirt, actually much like Eugene's wearing in his avatar and his profile. It was sort of that similar color, and so Mia had this idea. It was Mia and Jennifer Quinn and Lynn Abate, and Lynn's sister, I think, were part of this group. And
power ladies right there.
Yeah. So we were all just like, so Mia was like, well, Jeff's home base. So if you get lost, go find him. And and so if you find him, that's home base. And so just stay by him, and we'll all meet you there.
Oh my God, I love Mia.
So it kind of stuck.
The best stuff.
It was really funny. And it happened because Mia